Rahm Emanuel, he was the former chief of staff for President Obama. Well, he's been kicked off the Chicago mayoral ballot. We're going to go out to Lizzie O'Leary in Washington, D.C. with more. And Lizzie, this has been sort of an ongoing saga, and I guess, I don't know, is this the final word? Is he definitely not a resident of Chicago?
It's not the final word. It's the third act in this drama. There's probably going to be a fourth act. We should point out that he will be kicked off if this ruling stands. It's an appeals court decision, and it's already been through essentially 2 rulings before. What we're talking about is whether or not Rahm Emanuel is ruled a resident of Chicago. Remember, the election is coming up soon. It's on February 22nd. He has been thought of as the front runner in this race. He's certainly outraised everybody else financially. And one of the questions is whether or not he meets the residency requirements living in the city of Chicago for a year. Now, what happened when he went to Washington to work for President Obama is that the Emanuel family rented out their house. They kept it, they kept some of their possessions there, but they rented it out. When he wanted to move back in October, the renters essentially said, no, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stick out the remainder of our lease. So he's been living somewhere else now that he's back in Chicago campaigning for mayor. His lawyers told reporters that this was a surprise, but they have said all along that if they were smacked down by this appeals panel, it was a 2-to-1 ruling, that they would go to the Illinois Supreme Court. So that's the logical next step for them. You have a fairly crowded mayoral field, but no one seemed to be claiming certainly the prominence that Rahm Emanuel has and the financial heft in his campaign. We're going to look for them to move on to the Illinois Supreme Court. That's certainly the next expected step, and that could be the final chapter in this drama. It's a little hard to say right now, but everybody is looking toward the next court challenge, Lisa.
Well, it sounds like at some point it's got to end in sometime soon. February 22nd, I guess, is the election day there.
Exactly.
Right. Thanks so much, Lizzie. Lizzie O'Leary with the latest on Rahm Emanuel's attempts to become the mayor of Chicago, and finding out today that he's actually been kicked off the ballot, but not the last word.